Before this video starts, I just want to give a couple of shout outs. This isn't sponsored by anyone because why would anyone sponsor me? But the first shout out is to HP, the Pavilion gaming computer. Having this PC has allowed me to actually enjoy The Sims 3 way more, and it hasn't become a chore like it was in the past. This game performs just perfectly for The Sims 3. It has loaded files that have taken me hours, and I'm not joking, hours to load, and has shrunk that down to under a minute in some cases, usually around a minute 30. It's just insane. It's a really good computer, and I just have to give them that free shout out, because if it wasn't for this nice clean machine, it would be just unbearable to go through all this and all these loading screens to film all the clips that I needed to make this video. Second shout out I have to give to is Penguin Z0. You know him as Moist Critical. Now I know it's a little weird for, someone with 8 subs on YouTube to shout out some dude that's got 7 million, but I have to, because if it wasn't for him, this video literally wouldn't have been possible, because first of all, he influenced me to make a tier list video, and number 2, I was using Windows Live Movie Maker my entire life until I found out about Filmora, which Penguin Z0 introduced me to in one of his videos. He had a sponsorship from Filmora, so if it wasn't for Filmora, I wouldn't have been able to make the video the way it was. It would have looked like total garbage. So I have to give Penguin Z0 my sincerest thank you. Now it's time for the video. So, after binge watching Moist Critical, aka Penguin Z0, aka Charlie, for quite some time watching his tier list, I was very entertained by them. And I decided, you know what, why don't I make a tier list of my own about something I'm very passionate about, The Sims 3. Now, before I get into this video, I'm going to warn you, I've been binge watching him all day, so I might accidentally say words like abysmal, or abominable, or stinky, or fucking stuff like that. But I'll try my best to not transcend into Penguin Z0 territory. But, I'm going to be very frank and honest with the expansion packs I'm going to review. And before I get into them, I'm going to tell you right now, I think every single one of them are worth buying, but there's certainly downsides to some of them. And there's certainly expansion packs that are better than others, and I've owned all of them for many years at this point. I'm just going to give a brief overview of all of them and kind of tell you what I think about them, where they fall short and where they fall well. And we'll give them a tier list ranking. With that being said, I'm not going to go into crazy in-depth of all of them, like every single aspect of it. We're not going to go do that. You would need to do one video separate for each of them in order to accomplish that. So we're just going to do this in order from when they were released. So, first one on our list here is The Sims 3 Roll Adventures. Not much negative to say about Sims 3 Roll Adventures. That allows your Sims to go on vacation to different countries in the game, which is really cool. You can go to France, Egypt, or China. And you can explore these countries and explore the tombs, and it's a whole lot of fun. It really adds a really nice interactive, RPG-style adventure for your Sims to go to these tombs where you have to solve puzzles and pull statues to unlock things, or find certain keystones and interact with different Sims to find out where these things are. It's really, really cool, and it's a really fun addition to the game. It's great. With that being said, I think it is a little overrated. It seems to rank pretty high amongst Sims 3 players or Sims fans for being like the best expansion pack. But, I think there is some downsides to it. If you are able to ever complete all of the adventures and go through all the tombs, it doesn't leave you with much else to do. This is kind of the one negative. You can get your visa level up to the point you can buy a vacation home in these countries, but why? These towns or neighborhoods, as you call them, are not really that entertaining outside of the adventures that you do in the game. And although the adventures are really fun, once you're done with them, there just isn't much to do in these neighborhoods but look around and visit certain places. You obviously can't really start a career there. You can't really build much relationships with other Sims. And of course, you're pretty much negated from being able to reproduce over there because pregnancies won't start until you go back home. So it's not like your Sims can really permanently live here or interact with this neighborhood like it's a new neighborhood. It's pretty much the only benefit of it being, yeah, we can go on some wacky adventures. And don't get me wrong, it's really fun, and I love the additions that were made to this expansion pack. But it is kind of temporary, and of course, you'd have to travel for small time intervals at a time, so you can't, stay in these countries for immense long amounts of time until you get your visa level up. But again, not much negative to say about it. I think it's a great addition to the game, and for that reason, I'm giving it an A tier. Next on this list is, of course, The Sims 3 Ambitions. Now, instead of going to a boring rabbit hole and clicking work hard for your Sims and waiting for them to come home so you can actually play with them, well, now you can actually act out the jobs they're doing, hands-on. You want to be a firefighter, a private investigator, a stylist, an architect, or even a fucking ghost hunter? Well, you can be now. You can actually go to your job, and you have to actually fight house fires, or actually solve cases, or bust ghosts. I probably couldn't call it Ghostbusters for copyright reasons, but you get the idea. You can now actually interact with the jobs, which makes the game way more realistic. Like having to actually do the jobs instead of just send them away and work hard, Now you can actually do these jobs, and they're really, really fun to do. And of course, this comes with a downside. If you have a large family, it's going to be very difficult to manage a lot of them. So it's not recommended to have really more than 1 or 2 Sims, in my opinion, work in a profession like this, because if you have all your Sims having to actually interactively do your jobs, it's going to be very hard for them to build performance because, you're going to want to focus on them a little more at a time versus throwing your Sims in a rabbit hole. You don't really have to worry about them during that time period. So this can be a little challenging if you're trying to do multiple at once. And of course, if you're a new player, you're probably going to want to make money a little faster to work your way up the ranks, and you only get paid weekly and versus daily with regular career options. With that being said, this greatly, greatly improves how careers or jobs work in this game, and it's just a lot of fun. It also comes with the inventing skill, which allows you to build a lot of crazy fun shit, but more specifically the Simbot. Although it is very, very difficult to build, it really is a great achievement to accomplish, and it just really increases, the potential and realism to the game when you can actually interactively do these jobs. It's just a lot of fun, and I don't have that many negative things to say about the expansion pack in and of itself, but there are some negatives. The first negative that I'm going to mention is the sculpting skill. If you don't have a really nice graphics card, you basically can't do it because you will just see black silhouettes of everything you build, which fucking sucks. Now, I have a nicer PC now, and I'm not sure if it would even run it then because I haven't tested it out, but it is worth mentioning. But the second negative is game breaking. It makes this, I want to give Ambitions an A or even a S tier, but I can't because of this one reason. The broken game mechanics of Ambitions is fucking insulting to the player. It is insulting. Almost all of the professions in the game are broken to some degree, where you're going to constantly run into problems. For example, the firefighter profession is extremely broken. You are going to get a large house fire, which is the only one which you need to actually save Sims. And if you have the firefighter lifetime wish, you're going to have to save 30 of them. But here's the problem. Those aren't going to add up, and you're going to lose job performance because you don't finish the job. And you want to know why you don't finish the job? They'll tell you have to save 3 Sims, but they might only put 2 of them actually in the building. So there'll be a third guy that you can't possibly save. So you either have to leave the job and take an F grade for the job and lose job performance, or you just have to close the game out if you don't want to take the loss. And, it's just really game breaking and frustrating. The private investigator career is glitchy as well. When you're going into a house just for prints, they'll constantly try to force them to go back home because you're not technically supposed to be in that house. There's opportunity chains that are broken. It's just insulting to the player, and it's a big negative, and it's a disgrace that they weren't able to just go in and try to fix these things, and they've done nothing about it. But it's a very common glitchy process. If this game worked the way it should have, it would definitely be worthy of an A or even an S tier. But because of these game-breaking glitches and how broken the professions can be, it makes the game way more stressful than it should be, and makes the game insulting to me that the developers were this lazy. And for that reason, I have to drop it down to a B tier. Number 3 on this list is the Sims 3 Late Night expansion pack. This expansion pack really emboldens and strengthens what your Sims can go out and do for fun. You have dance clubs, you have bars you can go to, bar games you can play, you can drink a variety of drinks, like woohoo on the beach, if you know what I mean. They got all these new ways to, to get drunk in a sense. You can go in hot tub skinny dip, you can fuck in a hot tub, elevators, you can fuck in the elevators, you can live the high-rise life in an apartment or a penthouse. And it just adds a lot of new content to the game, which makes the game just way more fun. It was actually so fun to play that while I was making the gameplay clip for this video, I actually got distracted and started playing longer than I needed to because I was just having so much fun with it. It's just an overall really great expansion pack. It really enlightens and makes the game more real in a sense that you can do more things. You can go out and party. You can go out and have some drinks with your boys at the bar now. It really adds so much new content to the game and can really fill that void of like periods of time where your Sims aren't working on skills or their jobs or whatever, and it really just adds a better social aspect to the game. Like now you can just go out and actually socialize at a place instead of just hanging out at the park and watching your Sim play guitar. It's just a lot of fun. And of course it also introduces vampires, which some people that like the realist aspect of the game might not like them, but I've had a lot of fun playing with vampires. I think they're pretty cool, living that life, just having to stay inside in the day and being able to go out at night and hunt for blood. I think that added a really cool, neat thing to it. You also get celebrity systems, which I've had fun with, but can, and honestly sometimes does, get pretty annoying with paparazzi constantly bothering you, not being able to talk to certain Sims because they have a celebrity level. So it can kind of get in the way. It also adds an acting career as well, which really emboldens that celebrity high life aspect of it. But it's overall just really cool. And, unfortunately, the only way to really experience the Late Night expansion pack is to play in Bridgeport because it's really neighborhood based. You're not going to have these types of lots available to you in other neighborhoods. And they're so fun to play with. For example, the Aquarius dance club that I put it into my main game because I liked it so much. It doesn't work as well over there in Isla Paradiso, but it's a really good lot, and it just adds so much more fun things to do. I can't really think of anything bad to say about this expansion pack. Matter of fact, the Sims 3 Late Night is the reason I started playing the Sims 3 for PC. Before I started playing on the PC, I was playing on the console version for the PlayStation 3, and then I found out about Late Night, and it seemed so good and so fun. I wanted it so bad that I spent the money, and I was young, so I had to grind up $20 and stuff. I was like 12 or 13 years old. So I had to dig in the dryer to get this money to get the Sims 3 base game just so I could play Late Night. And I was not disappointed at all. As a kid, I'd play this game up to 3, 4 in the morning, just hours on end, endless gameplay, just partying with my Sims, doing all sorts of crazy shit, relationships. It's so fun. I have literally nothing negative to say about it other than maybe the fact that you do have to live in Bridgeport to experience it. And, you might not want your Sim to live in the city, but it is a really fun neighborhood. And then, of course, Bridgeport does tend to perform and be a little more laggy. It performs worse and tends to be a little more laggy than other neighborhoods do. But if you have the right PC for it, it'll run just smoothly. But that's really about the only complaint you can give it. There's a lot of moving parts in that city, which makes it a little laggier than it should be. But Late Night, in my opinion, just overall just a thrilling experience. It just enhances the game in so many ways that I have to give it an S tier. Before I get into the next part of this video, I just wanted to add one more important point about the Sims 3 Late Night. The patch that comes with the Sims 3 Late Night brings you the titty slider. And for you ladies out there that like your big muscular men, it also brings you the muscle definition slider. Although you might be able to get this with a patch later on without Late Night itself anyway, but it's an important point to make. If you like big titties, then get the Sims 3 Late Night. Next on this list is, of course, The Sims 3 Generations. To sum it up, The Sims 3 Generations enhances every life stage of the game. And this can be really fun. It really makes the game a lot more realistic and way more intuitive. For example, you can live out your imaginative desires as a child or your rebellion stage as a teen and go to prom and actually have a high school graduation for once. And you can have a bachelor/bachelorette party. You can go nuts. The possibilities are endless, and now the adult life stage isn't just step 2 of young adult. You can actually have a midlife crisis. It actually makes it a different life stage in the game. I find it to be really fun. Elders can now walk with canes and reminiscence about the old days. It's just a lot of fun and way more realistic enhancement to the game to really add these things in, of how, people at these different points in life act and the things that they do. With that being said, though, I feel like some of these things were kind of a cash grab or a milk from Electronic Arts, our favorite friend here, the king of DLC grabbers. Because, I feel like, for example, the high school graduation could have just been put in the base game. Not so much the bachelor parties and shit, but some of the stuff, like maybe even the prom, like some of these things I feel like are almost a necessity that should have just been in the game to an extent. But not so much because, unlike The Sims 4, The Sims 3 is actually a complete game on its own. So this Generations just does a really good job enhancing the life stages of this game and makes it a lot more enjoyable, makes the game a lot more fun. It's actually really interesting to play with to the point that, you're doing something in the game. You don't even think, oh, wait, that's actually an expansion pack. It's like, oh, wow. Because some of the things that you get to do in the game now just really, really make the game a lot better. Not much complaints about it overall. Imaginary friends come into the game. And I have to like imaginary friends because still to this day, on my main YouTube channel, it is my most popular video with 3,000 or some shit. So I have to give a little love to that, making imaginary friend real, my most popular vid. But, shit aside, it's they can be fun to play with, but also pretty annoying at times. But, if you don't want them to become real, then just don't play with the doll, and they won't ever come out, in your Sims imagination. But they can certainly get in the way of things a lot of the time. But they're really cool to play with as well, because they get really cool hairstyles and eye colors, and they can turn into a toy form, and they're made actually real. So it's pretty fun to play with, and it's avoidable if you like the realist aspect of the game. With that being said, there's a couple of game-breaking things in here. Well, not game-breaking, but glitchiness that definitely hurts Generations. And there's only really one problem with it. Well, two, actually. But the first one I'm going to mention isn't actually a glitch or a problem. It's just something you should just get rid of immediately, and that is memories. The memories feature in The Sims 3 is fucking garbage. It's trash. Just don't use it. It might seem cool to have a little memories in your scrapbook of your Sims, but that's if you like to clog the fuck out of your file and get an error 12 saving code every 15 minutes on week 1, day 1. It is absolutely abominable. It will ruin the RAM on your computer and make it almost unsavable. Just disable memories. But it's not really a negative thing that goes against this, because I think they tried to make something kind of cool and intuitive, and it's disableable. So, can't really complain there. The other thing I can complain about, though, is they added an aspect of the game which I think had a lot of potential to be really fun and interesting, but because of a glitch, it is absolutely useless and garbage. Now, your Sims can get in trouble with their parents or other adults that may live in their home. And, for skipping school or doing whatever, they can be punished. Sometimes they just get in trouble. Sometimes they get grounded. Now, if they get grounded, it's completely broken, and you're better off just, no matter what, even if you want to have some fun with it, just let them, letting them off the hook, because you're basically trapped in that forever. Because if your, let's say, teen Sim is grounded, and they go to school the next day, then they're going to get in trouble again for leaving the house. So it's really broken, and it fucks the game up. So you're better off just not playing with that feature because it's really bugged the fuck out. With that being said, overall, The Sims 3 Generations just really enhances every life stage of the game and adds a lot of new features and makes the social ability of all the Sims, a lot better. But it doesn't add a crazy amount of new content. There's no new neighborhoods or anything like that. Not a crazy amount of extra stuff. It just kind of enhances the game to a point. I can't really say it's superior, so I'm just going to say it's an A tier because it's a very good expansion pack, but some of it feels kind of forced that I was like, that should have been in the original game. And, it doesn't really bring a crazy amount of new content as well, so it's definitely worthy of the A tier. Next on this list is The Sims 3 Pets. Well, as given by the name of the expansion pack, you can probably assume what you get in this expansion pack. It's pets, dogs, cats, and for some reason a normal other animal people have as a normal domesticated pet is a fucking horse. Now, don't get me wrong, horses are really fun to play with, and we'll go into that a little bit. But, honestly, you get what you would expect with this expansion pack. You get to play with dogs, you get to train your dogs, you get to play with your cats, you get to train your cats, you can interact with them, you can have puppies and kittens and whatever they're called, foals or fowls. I'm not a horse guy. I don't know my horse stuff. But nonetheless, it's about just what you would expect. There is a little bit of that, itchy feeling when it's like, why isn't there dogs in this game when you're playing The Sims 3? But not really, because at the same time, The Sims 3 is supposed to be more of a person life simulator, when you're going into the game. So although it kind of feels like it's something that should have been in the base game, I don't really think it should have, because, it's an acceptable move to make it an expansion pack, and it worked because I bought it and I enjoyed it very much. But however, with that being said, it's a little overhyped. It's a little underwhelming when you get into the Sims 3 Pets. There's nothing insulting about the expansion pack. There's nothing negative to really say about it at all. You really get exactly what you expect from it, but with a lot less hype than the trailers for the expansion pack make you to believe. Because the reality is like, your Sims just sadly aren't going to have as much time as you think they can to spend with their pets, because in real life we have 24 hours a day. I can definitely make time to play with my dog a little bit, but they only really have 24 minutes. And if your Sim's trying to complete their life goals and accomplish skills or whatever it is, it might be really hard to, regularly socialize with your dog, cat, or horse and keep it happy. It's if you have a large family anyway. If you just got a couple of Sims and a pet, you can really play the Pets expansion to its fullest content. But with that being said, again, I don't really think there's anything crazy, and amazing about this expansion pack. It just gives you what you want: pets and animals to play with in the game. And it's a great expansion pack. It's fun. It's a definite. I would almost say it's a necessity to have this as an expansion pack. It's a really great addition. I think everyone should definitely get it, especially if you're an animal lover like me. But to each their own. But I think it's a great addition to The Sims 3 to have dogs in it, especially because I'm a big dog guy, and be able to ride your horse around like it's the medieval fucking times. But I think it's good, and I'm very happy they made it. I would actually still be emailing them a lot of nasty insults to this day if they hadn't made a Pets expansion, because it feels like a necessity to me. However, just to sum it up, I don't think it's anything crazy good. I don't think it's anything to necessarily die for. It's not like getting a golden ticket to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. So for that reason, I'm going to place it at the B tier. It seems like it's a little less than I almost want to put it at the A tier, but it just doesn't quite strike my fancy as being this high grade expansion pack to the point I can give it an A tier. I have nothing really negative to say about it, but I don't really have a crazy amount of hyper positivity to say about it either. And for that reason, I think it comfortably sits on the B tier. It's Showtime, folks. And that's because next on this list we have The Sims 3 Showtime. You want to work your way up to fame and stardom, by being an acrobat, a magician, a singer? Well, now you can. Because now you can have your Sims actively perform on stage while other Sims watching on. And you can work your way up to be a legend. Doesn't something sound similar here, though? Getting a little deja vu. Yep, that's because there's a portion of Sims 3 Late Night I didn't really mention when I was reviewing it, and that's because I saved it for this portion. In the Sims 3 Late Night, you can work your way up to stardom and fame by being in a band, by being an actress, have the celebrity system. It seems like it's literally the same idea, just given to you again. And honestly, as a Sims 3 fan and as a long-time player of the game, who I've been playing since Christmas of 2010, I found this really insulting. And this was the last expansion pack that I purchased, and for a reason. I didn't see any need to really have this stuff in the game, but it's important that we review the other aspects of this expansion pack. One of them is Simport. You can now put your performing Sims into your friends' games, but I don't really have any friends that play The Sims 3. This is kind of something to do on my loner hours or on Twitch. So it's, I never really used it. I've never used it. So I can't really tell you if that's a good or a bad feature. And nonetheless, you obviously don't have to use it, so it's not affecting your game. The other thing I want to go over is genies. I think genies are really, really cool. I really like playing with genies. You can clean themselves instantly. You can clean other Sims instantly. You can ensorcel Sims to control them temporarily and rob their stuff out of their inventory. They move really fast. When they're in the lamp, you know what I mean? If you get a genie lamp, you can wish for some things. You can make money really easily on it. Also, if you notice in this gameplay, I moved into the original house, which my main save still lives in today, which originally comes with Starlight Shores. If you guys have seen my gameplay videos, you'll probably recognize this house, and that's because I moved my Sims there originally and built on it, and then when Starlight Shores became too clogged up, I moved to Isla Paradiso. Probably wasn't the best idea data-wise, but I wanted to explore Isla Paradiso. But nonetheless, the Showtime holds a special place in my heart in those regards, but we have to leave our biases off at the door. At the end of the day, the Sims 3 Showtime is an insult to Sims 3 players. It gives you really nothing new or inspired. I mean, it does give you a few new, interactive and fun careers, but the idea behind it, the new content behind it, it's a lazy expansion pack. They really didn't give us anything new, and that's just a negative thing to say. But it's true, and I have to be honest in that regard. And before Katy Perry fans come on the comment section and start getting mad at me, I made sure I avoided getting the limited edition Katy Perry expansion pack. I made sure I got their regular pack because I did not want to be associated with that. No offense. So I won't be reviewing any aspect of the Showtime expansion pack in that regard. But to move on, to just get to the point here, The Sims 3 Showtime as an expansion pack, as a game in of itself, is not offensive in any way. It's not insulting. The content in the game is not insulting. It's fun to play with. It adds new things to do in the game. The new neighborhood, Starlight Shores, is really fun. Genies are really fun to play with. So the game itself is good. It's decent. Don't really have anything negative to say about the gameplay or the contents of this expansion pack. However, we do have to be honest with ourselves. Its existence is an insult, and just because of the fact they should have added this into The Sims 3 Late Night, they could have thrown the genies into Supernatural or added them to Late Night as well. They didn't really give us any new ideas. They didn't really expand the game in a new way. When you're looking for an expansion pack, hence the word expansion, you're looking to expand your horizons. This really just kind of said, yeah, some extra late night stuff to do. And I found that offensive, honestly. It's just my honest opinion. I really feel like they could have combined that with late night and we could have just had 10 even packs. I don't know why Showtime was where they went. I don't understand what went down in the EA meeting room. They're like, we need to make a new expansion pack. And they're just like, what if we take late night and just remaster it? Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Like, that's how I feel like it's nothing new or exciting. But because there's really nothing negative I can say about the gameplay itself, it goes in the C tier. It's still worth getting, in my opinion. It still gives you some fun things to do, and it still gives you all the Sims 3 stuff that you want. It doesn't falsely advertise either. You get everything you expect of this expansion pack. It's just insulting to me. But nothing negative to say about the pack itself, nothing negative to say about the content of the pack itself, and nothing really that positive to say about the pack itself. So for that reason, I think it well deserves a C tier. Next up is The Sims 3 Supernatural. You can now indulge in all your supernatural fantasies because now we have returning vampires, if you didn't already have late night, werewolves, fairies, and witches. And if you want, you can start off as a ghost from CAS. Well, this really brings a lot of new content to the table for The Sims 3. There's now many more ways to play with life, if you will. You can play your tricks as a fairy, release your auras, do some magic tricks, cast your spells as a witch, hunt under the full moon as a werewolf, go out and hunt for blood as a vampire. I mean, the possibilities have just become endless. Now you can really explore with different life states and really have a lot of fun with them if you want. Now, unlike other packs that only give you one life state, this gives you many. So this gives you a lot more things to do when experimenting with these life states. Now, it is worth noting it does come with a new neighborhood, Moonlight Falls, which really emboldens its supernatural setting. But this expansion pack is just going to give you new life states that move into your neighborhood regardless. So you don't really need to play in Moonlight Falls to experience this pack to the fullest, although it definitely brings about the better scenery. Now, it also is worth mentioning that there isn't a crazy amount of new game-enhancing content other than the life states. Like, it all kind of revolves around the supernatural, so if you're looking for new ways to expand gameplay in of itself, being, making the game more realistic, well then, obviously Supernatural isn't going to meet those desires because it's supernatural. There's nothing realistic about it at all. So, if you're a realist, then this expansion pack won't be for you. But it does bring a lot of new content to the game. It brings you a lot of new stuff to experiment with and have fun with. For an example, you can work your way up, learning different spells and, as a witch. Eventually you can, cure zombies or make someone a zombie. You could accidentally kill yourself with a haunting curse. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. And, as a vampire, they still have their same basic abilities they did in Late Night, really. Go out and, be really fast and hunt, suck blood and all that. And, it has that stuff going for it. The werewolves are really cool. They, are forced into this beastly form, which you can edit yourself, when the full moon comes. And there's a lot to experiment with, and there's a lot to have fun with in that regard. Especially fairies, I think, are probably the most omnipotent because they don't really have any weaknesses, whereas, vampires have weaknesses, but fairies live just as long, a 5 times life stage. I guess the only downside about fairies is, they cannot hide that there's something supernatural from anybody. All the other ones can kind of, I'm not a fucking vampire, But, I mean, goofs aside, I think this game really brings a lot of new stuff to do with these different life states, and it's just a whole lot of fun. I've had so much fun with this expansion pack. I can't tell you how much this made me want to play The Sims 3 even more. It's oh wow, I get to do this stuff now. It just became really crazy and really changed the game for me. Now it definitely takes away from a realist aspect of the game. If you're looking to really simulate life, then obviously this pack shouldn't be installed or at least disabled for that time of the gameplay. But for me, I just had a good time with it. I really like experimenting with the different life states and doing new things with them and keeping the bloodlines going in my family. I find it really, really fucking cool. And this was why it was the second expansion pack that I purchased as a kid, because I was really interested in that type of stuff. And as a 21-year-old man talking to you today, I'm still telling you it's really fucking cool. I have about nothing negative to say about this expansion pack, at all. I have zero bad things to say about it. There's sometimes maybe a little bit of lag when it comes to like werewolves transforming and stuff like that. Like there's a couple of glitchy things maybe, but I have nothing bad to say about the pack. I think it really brought a lot of new stuff to do in the game, and it's a really fun distraction from your normal mundane life. Now, a lot of Sims 3 players who play for realism, who play for the realist aspect, are really going to hate me for this, but I think this was an amazing game pack. I think it brought so much new content to the table, and it was just so fun to play that like I could never get bored with it. Like even on my main file right now, I haven't even incorporated all of the life states into it yet. I just want to keep experimenting and playing with them. They're just so fun, and for that, I'm giving it an S tier. And I'm going to die jerking off on that hill because, you know, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for it. Like Lazy Game Reviews, the Sims legend, would not like to hear that because he really likes the realist aspect of it. But I just find this pack really, really fun. The only other negative, I guess, is worth mentioning is how annoying zombies can fucking be. You know, that really does annoy the shit out of me at times. And it's fun at first. But if you really want to get rid of them, you can just set a permanent moon phase that isn't the full moon, and it's avoidable, it's tolerable. But again, you could always just disable the game pack from the launcher if you want to go back to a realistic gameplay. But I find it really fucking cool, and I think it's a great expansion pack, and I think it's a new way to play the game. They also put a lot of heart and soul into it. They really went all out on adding all these new life states and really just added a lot of new content to play with. Next up, we have the Sims 3 Seasons, which gives you exactly what you would expect from the let-go. Seasons. Summer, fall, winter, spring. You finally get seasons in the game. And weather. Rain and snow. And this just really enhances the game from the let-go. I mean, this just really makes the game so much more realistic and so much more fun and interactive than just having bland, sunny skies every single day, which looks like maybe spring or summer weather. Now, that's not the case. Now you're going to experiment with the snow. You're going to get soaked by the rain. Sometimes your Sims aren't going to be able to go outside and enjoy their day because it's raining, and that's the way it is in real life. I think the seasons just really makes the gameplay so much more fun. But that's not even where the fun ends, like, at all. Because now you have a festival ground that you can go to and do all sorts of fun stuff, like snowboarding and getting your face painted. You can redeem tickets, for fireworks and snacks and take greeting card pictures and go skating and ice skating and just all this cool stuff. It's just so thrilling and fun. I'm just going to make this quick almost because I have literally nothing negative to say about this game pack. It is just overall enjoyable, and it just makes the game way more enjoyable. And with every other expansion pack you throw in, Seasons is there, still influencing it. No matter what neighborhood you're in, they always have Seasons unless you travel abroad, but you know what I mean. It just really makes the game way more fun and way more realistic. And it's just great. It gives you so many new activities to do. There's holidays now, like you can actually celebrate Christmas and Halloween and go trick-or-treating, and you have a leisure day in the summer even, which is like a Labor Day, I guess, and then you get Valentine's Day in the spring, which is, I know it's in the winter, but it makes sense. It's really just a lot of fun, and I think they did a good job with it. And there's really nothing negative to say. Maybe if you might get stressed out of how quick seasons change, you want to enjoy one, one at a time, but you can change that in the settings. So you can change that to your liking. If you want it to stay summer permanently, go ahead. No one's stopping you from doing that. So it just adds a lot of new content to the game. And there's just no complaints that I can really give this expansion pack. I literally can't. I don't know what's negative about it. It also gives you aliens, which are really cool. And if you've managed to get an alien in your family, which is difficult to do, I've managed to do it. They also are really fun to play as they can, do really cool things with their brain power, and it's just a whole lot of fun. It's just great, hands down, just a great expansion pack, and for that reason, it gets an S tier. It's an absolute S tier expansion pack because I can't give it a complaint. I really can't. And next up, we have The Sims 3 University Life, which is greatly appreciated by college students like me because now my Sims can feel some of the same pain that I have to on a daily basis, although not right now because admittedly I'm on a winter break. But with that being said, this game really does have a lot of fun things to it, which really enlightens the university lifestyle of the game. And it's a nice change of pace to get away from your home on The Sims 3. You send your Sims away to the university. They can experiment with some fun things, go to parties, do some crazy keg stands, play beer pong, and hit it up with the sorority girls. With that being said, you are going to spend a lot of time having to go to class, of course, which is the reality of college, and, attending the lectures and taking the notes and studying and all of that. So it really does kind of put all the things that make a university into the game, which I'm greatly appreciative of. I think it adds a lot of new content to the Sims 3, and it adds a lot of new fun things to do. However, though, this game's not incredibly needed in my opinion. It's a lot of fun. I think it's a great addition, but it doesn't directly enhance the gameplay in of itself. Meaning that this is kind of yeah, you send your sim to the university, it's fun, it's a nice gimmick, but you can still get any job you want in The Sims 3 without going to the university, although it greatly boosts your career path. But the time you spent over at Sims University getting that degree, you could have just been working at that job. So I don't really think anyone would tactically, decide to go to Sims University in order to boost their career options. I think they would do it just for the fun of Sims University, and I think Sims University is a lot of fun. So I'll definitely credit it with that. Although it can be said that while your Sim is at the university, there are other Sims back at home, aren't aging and you don't have to worry about them. And therefore, it could, save you some time with that. Now, just to kind of give it an overall review here, it's a really good expansion pack. It adds bowling, which I really love bowling, so I'm very grateful for that. And, all those fun things, and it really gives the light of the university life. But it's not to die for. It's not great. It doesn't directly really bring anything crazy exciting to the game. It's a lot of fun. It's a great break to get away. But you'll definitely find yourself not wanting to send your Sims to the university a lot of the time because you'd rather still focus on things at home. But when you need a break from that, it's a good getaway. So for these reasons, I'm going to give it an A tier. I think it's a really good expansion pack, but it's not the best expansion pack. It's good. It's really good. It's actually great, but it's just not all the hype around it. It's not crazy good. It's not to die for, but it's good and definitely deserving of an A tier and definitely high A tier. Next up is The Sims 3 Island Paradise. Cast away the island lifestyle as you can be a beach bum and boat all over the waters and explore the ocean blue, go scuba diving, meet mermaids, own a resort. Go explore new islands and build on these islands, buy these islands. It's really a thriller. This expansion pack is a whole lot of fun, and there's so many new fun things to do, from going scuba diving and just exploring the island life. It's just really nice to go out and explore and live on the ocean in this regard. It really just gives you a nicer feel. It's a really nice expansion pack. And of course, it is neighborhood based. If you don't play in Isla Paradiso, there's really no Island Paradise content that's really going to be in your game. You can obviously still buy this stuff from the menu. Now you could probably even still buy a boat somehow. Actually, I don't even know because I don't know where you're gonna put a thing for it. But nonetheless, you really have to live in Isla Paradiso to experience this pack. There's no scuba diving spots anywhere else and everything else. So that's just kind of a thing. If you don't want to live in that neighborhood, then you're not going to get the experience of Island Paradise. But that's also kind of the negative about Island Paradise is because it's a really fun pack. It's a thriller. There's so many fun things to do. But the problem is every once in a while, I can just kind of put this into a picture. I can paint a picture for you. Let's say, you wake up one morning and you want to watch a 4K YouTube video, absolutely stunning HD quality, the most pristine picture you could imagine. But you were going to play it on dial-up internet. The just picture that. Picture that type of computer, dial-up internet, trying to play an HD video. That is about how fast the game runs with an Isla Paradiso. And I don't want to hear people saying, oh, maybe you just need a nicer computer. Let me see your specs and all this shit that people try to say when you have performance issues. I've obviously had this issue on my old laptop, which really was, the game played like shit on this laptop. Like, I could still play it and enjoy it. But, literally the loading time to get my file open, because my file right now is like 2.3 gigs. I could literally take a shit shower and watch Johnny Sin's entire filmography, and the game still wouldn't be loaded. Now I have an SSD hard drive versus the HDD hard drive I had on my old laptop, and I can literally load that same file in less than a minute. It is absolutely a much better performing computer. So that's obviously not the issue. Isla Paradiso still runs like fucking dog shit on the nicer PC. My computer has beyond what you would need to run The Sims 3. It's just a glitchy neighborhood. It is still playable to an extent as long as you remove the Scott family's houseboat and them. Presumably, you could probably move them somewhere else. As long as you get rid of their houseboat and click reset sim space asterisk all the time, then you can run this game. But you quite often are going to have to Control Shift C to reset sim space asterisk because for some reason Sims always get like routing issues over there and everything. There's just tons of bugs that are just abhorrent. Like, for example, cockroach spawners in your resorts might go underground, causing a routing issue, so you have to go into the by debug and delete them. Or the lifeguard profession, if you click perform job and you go to survey the beach, your game will just literally fucking crash. At least it has for me every time. The only way around it is to go there and then click survey. It's just, there's so many problems with it. Matter of fact, in the gameplay that you saw here, that wasn't just a paused video. That's actually the game crashed completely to shit. And the reason I left it in here instead of just cutting it out was because I felt that you guys had to see what I was talking about. Isla Paradiso is offensively laggy and offensively glitchy, and I still enjoy the expansion pack, but it is really an insult to everyone that plays this game because I can't imagine how they could have just let that get released like the way it is, because there's no way that over at EA they didn't notice the performance issues when they were testing this game, assuming they tested this game before they released it. How could it not say, wow, the game freezes every 5 fucking minutes? How can I not be like, that's a problem. Every 10 seconds it pauses and just lags out for like 5 seconds. Like, maybe we should go into the coding and see what we can do about that. Maybe putting a system to get rid of abandoned boats, which supposedly slows the game down. It's just riddled with tons of problems. And for that reason, even though the gameplay is great and the content's great, the performance issues that you get with Isla Paradiso are so fucking important. I have to drop it down to a B tier, because, it would get an A probably. Definitely actually would get an A. I wouldn't say it would be worthy of an S really, even though it's really fun, but it would definitely get an A. But because of the abhorrent performance issues you get with this neighborhood, it sits really comfortably in the B tier. And last but certainly not least is the Sims 3 Into the Future expansion pack. If you like time travel like I do and you think it's really cool, well, now you can implement that into The Sims 3. Send your Sims away into the future. Explore all the futuristic technology that the future has to offer, like jetpacks and hoverboards and plumbots. You can build these new futuristic robots, being the new life state in this expansion pack, to its fullest. You can implement their trait chips and work on them in any way you want. Oddly enough, those Simbots, which are supposed to be a primitive form of the Plumbot, have actual human traits, but these futuristic ones need them built into them. But I think this adds a really fun mechanic to the game, and I think it makes it a lot more interesting. And you can explore all the various things in the future, and you can change the future to a dystopian one, a utopian one, or just keep the normal one for your liking. I will say that there's some annoying things about living in the utopian future, like they're always striding around and everyone's all like, haha, and then they're all miserable in the dystopian one. Like, I'll admit that. I usually like to play it in normal. But there's a lot of fun things to do. You can meet your descendants, and they're genetically actually based off your Sims in your present time, and you can interact with them and get to know them. And there's a lot of really cool things that this expansion pack has done. Also, really got to appreciate the Back to the Future references because I love Back to the Future. I think it's a really good film franchise, and there's nothing negative to say about Back to the Future. So it's great that they named him Emmett, the time traveler. Although his name is literally time traveler backwards, it worked out fucking perfectly because Emmett Brown, Doc, and another one, of course, is the most expensive car in the entire game, if you have all the expansion packs, is the Delorean, which is obviously named after the Delorean because it literally has a description which says you don't want to make it exceed 87 miles an hour. Although insultingly, the car looks nothing like a DeLorean, but it is worth noting they were really smart by not just, naming it something similar to DeLorean, but they named it Delorean, which is Marty's mom in Back to the Future. So that was a really cool thing to appreciate, and I have to point it out here. But anyway, just to really overview the contents of this expansion pack, you obviously are going to have to travel into the future to really explore it to its fullest extent. Although you can build and buy with all the futuristic stuff in present time if you want to, but to really explore all the things the game has to offer, you're going to have to actually travel into the future. And you can still even build plumbots in present time, but again, you're going to want to experience that and actually go and time travel and play around with that to really get all the fun out of this pack. And I found this pack exceedingly really enjoyable and a lot of fun, and it was really fun to experiment with. The whole expansion pack is a great experience, and I think it was a great expansion pack to make and add. And I think they put a lot of heart into this one and a lot of work into it, and I think they did a really good job with it, especially the aspect of traveling into the future that you can stay there as long as you want and actually live there like it's your normal home neighborhood. You can do whatever you want there. You could literally do a legacy run in there if you want because you can do anything you can do at home there, unlike traveling to other countries where it's limited or obviously the university's limited. You can do literally anything you can do in present time in the future, which makes it a lot more fun. And with that being said, I mean, it's not like the best expansion pack in the game. Like, it does get boring after a while, and you definitely just kind of want to snap back to reality and play in present time. So, it's not necessary to have in your game, and you're certainly going to want to go back to present time every now and then and kind of just not play with it. But if you're a realist player, you can literally just avoid it at all costs. You just don't use the time portal and don't use any of the futuristic build and buy options. Like, the game doesn't hurt your gameplay at all. I mean, when you launch a new file, you will get a time portal spawned in your game, but you can get rid of it if you want. So if you're someone who just kind of wants to take a step back from into the future, you don't even have to disable it or uninstall it or anything. You can just not interact with it. So, I mean, like, for example, like, there'll be times where I'm kind of bored of the future and playing in the future, so I just go back to present time and I just don't play with it. And then when I feel like I want to do it again, I do it again. And I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a great pack, but, not crazy to die for. So I think it's definitely deserving of the A tier. A lot of fun to play, but nothing insane. Really good expansion pack overall, though, so definitely deserves the A tier. So there you have it. There's my official tier list for the Sims 3 expansion packs. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you agree, disagree with some of these? Where would you rank some of these expansion packs? I think some of them definitely inch closer to different parts of the tier ladder there, but, I think this was the best way to grade them at the end of the day. But let me know what you guys think, and if you made it this far in the video, I want to give you a big thank you, because I know this video was really long, and trust me, I wish I could have made it shorter. It took a lot of work, and I actually have real video editing software now, so yay. I hope to continue making reviews and reviewing things, maybe doing more tier lists, and I'll be back with my liquor reviews soon, I hope. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe, comment, and hit that thumbs up, and of course hit that notification bell, because I feel like YouTube doesn't like me as a human being. They're probably going to do the shadow banning thing to me for no reason. So stay tuned. See ya. Thank you.